Welcome. Good to have all of you here today. We have part 5 of the soul today, so we have one more to go. So there'll be part 6, and I think that'll be the end as far as this particular area. So let's begin today by first of all welcoming all of you on YouTube. Very nice to have you this morning. Happy to have you with our group here in Youngstown. Namaste to all of you. So in part 5, what we've been trying to do is we really wanted to talk about all of you. And perhaps the most important thing of all, as we talk about all of you, is really to kind of share this information. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Good to have you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, welcome, welcome. So what we've been trying to do is to talk about you. And I think that's just the most important thing. Not to see yourself as separated from a soul, but to realize that each one of us is a soul. So when I talk about you as a soul, I most want to talk about you, not so much simply you as a soul, but you personally. In part 1, what we did is we established our identity as an eternal soul. So as we're sitting here, the way we look at it is that each one of us is an eternal energy, temporarily in human form, but each one of us has that presence, and that presence most deeply within us is our soul presence. In part 2, we in a sense responded to the false limitations that many people put upon us, society puts upon us, and religion puts upon us. So many times people have a tendency to keep us limited rather than seeing us as expanding souls. In part 3, we came very clearly to the understanding that it's the soul, not the body, that has the lifetime guarantee. The body comes, the body goes. The soul is that eternal aspect of who we are. In part 4, we focused on the soul as the fountain of youth, the Holy Grail. It is that something within us that is always alive, it's always vital, it's always ready to go. In part 5 here today, what I'd like to do is to present the soul as our natural state of life. Our natural state of life. Hi Rosalie, hi Patty, welcome, welcome, welcome. So we'd like to focus on the soul as our natural state of life. I think you'll find it kind of interesting. Bob kind of said, what do you got for us today? So we'll see. We hope we have something halfway decent along the way and so on. Welcome Patty, welcome Rosalie, good to have you. So let's begin with the notion of the soul as your natural state of being. Well, it was my good friend Aristotle who first informed me that my soul was a natural ruler and guide that was within me. He had this complex book called the Nicomachean Ethics, and what he simply said was, you have within yourself a natural ruler and guide. He was the first of many people, in a sense, who helped us to try to see that our soul awareness is our natural conscious state. I know what you're going to say, so let me say it. But for many of us, especially at the beginning of our spiritual journey, we had a tough question to ask. If the soul is our natural state, why does it feel so unnatural? Why is it just so hard? Why is it so hard for us to make that choice in life? Yet the teaching did have a hold on us. Because even though you might have said, well, we have to have Rosalie have her goodies over here, that's very, very important. We know what's on that tray. We know what's on that tray. So it had a hold on us because even though it seemed unnatural or so difficult, yet there was that teaching that we are made in the image and likeness of the Creator. And if we were made in the image and likeness of the Creator, that seems to say that maybe the soul is your natural state, but yet it was still so hard. It still seemed unnatural to be natural. So the question we kind of addressed then is, where was the disconnect? Why did it seem so hard? Why did it seem so hard? The disconnect, what I would just want to suggest to you quite simply was this. The disconnect was, well, we aren't who we thought we were. We aren't who we thought we were. We are not limited human beings who are trying to find our place in the world. This is the hardest thing for us to overcome because that's what the collective consciousness said. You're a human being and your goal is to find your niche, to find your place in the world. That we are only limited humans rather than seeing ourselves as an eternal soul directly in touch with our Creator. And that as an eternal soul, we are here to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy from the inside out. It was a dilemma. On the one hand, everyone said, you got to find your place. On the other hand, people were saying, well, there's something within you that is really natural, and you have to create from the inside out. A dilemma, a difficulty for many of us. The Course in Miracles, I would suggest to you, was very helpful in this regard when it stated that we aren't really, in a sense, who we thought we were, that was really a case of mistaken identity. That is such a true statement. We thought we were simply a human being finding our way, rather than understanding that we really are an eternal soul that is here to bring heaven to earth. I remember when I first saw that phrase, looking at my life was a case of mistaken identity, I looked at that statement and said, well, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. I had mistaken myself as simply a limited human trying to find my way, rather than understanding that I'm much more than that and I'm here to do something. Well, again, it was my good friend Aristotle who was very, very helpful in the process, because Aristotle taught that your habits are not rigid rules of life. Your habits are not rigid rules of life, but rather that they are self-created. And so, if you want to change your view of life, then change your habits. If you want to change your view of life, change your habits. Because we are now making the arduous shift from seeing ourselves as limited humans to seeing ourselves as eternal souls. We began the arduous task of changing our habits. We began the arduous task of changing our habits to more clearly, in a sense, see our soul as our natural state of being. So what I want to suggest to you, that there have been 3 stages in the change of our identity. 3 stages. Just kind of see how they fit. The first stage in our change was obviously the most difficult stage because, well, we were immediately faced with the challenge to change the habits of the people who we thought we were. That was very, very difficult, to change the habit of who you thought we were. Our old habits, our ego identity, were eager to keep us imprisoned. They would not give up without a fight. They wanted to hold us in their grip. And so many times people would say, well, why should I change? At least I'm better than a lot of other people, so what's the incentive for me to make that change? The change was further complicated by the scope of the change in our habits if we were going to make the shift. The change was further complicated by the scope. It was one thing to change the habits of your body, to change what you ate and drank and exercised. But it was quite another to change your habits in your family, in your workplace, and in society. Because you had to also change your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. Because you had to change then your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. For example, it was very challenging to be calmer amid all of those other people. It was very challenging to be non-judgmental among those people who were quite obnoxious in the workplace, in your family, and in society. This seemed to be too much to ask of someone. It just seemed too much to ask until you notice something. You began to notice how much better you felt when you were calmer. You began to notice how much better you felt when you were not judgmental and allowed people to do whatever they had to do. Although it wasn't easy to do the things that really made you change, somewhere along the way you did feel better. That was pretty interesting. It just felt better to be calmer, to be non-judgmental. And especially when you meditated, there was just something within you that began to open up that was not there before. There was just something within you. There was an inner you. Not the same old, but a newer you, a better you, a happier you. Even though you could always, in a sense, even though at times you could not always hold on to this inner you amid the trials of life, there was at least a place. There was a place that you could return to, that you at least had an inner sanctuary that you could go to, where you could feel natural and at home. And at least that inner place was more natural than the battleground you were experiencing in the day in and day out daily living. This, I think, then led to a second stage in our growth and development with a concluding question. The second stage of your movement from your natural to your natural state has been stated in many, many ways. Perhaps the most poignant way in which it was stated was in the Course of Miracles. The Course of Miracles said, well, there's only two emotions, you know them, fear and love. Fear was of the ego, love was of the soul. But I think that the better statement of the principle was in the Hicks's book, The Law of Attraction, where it stated, you're either comfortable in life or you're uncomfortable in life. Either you're at ease or you're not at ease. Either you're feeling good or you're not feeling quite so good. That brought a very interesting question then. The question simply was this: why would you continue to be uncomfortable when you could feel comfortable? That's a pretty interesting question, don't you think? Why would you continue, in a sense, to feel uncomfortable when you could feel comfortable, when you could feel natural? Well, now I think you're onto something. You had changed enough to know that you could change even more. You had changed enough to know that you could change more. So you developed this plan. Whenever you felt uncomfortable, you discovered why you were feeling this way, and you changed to feeling comfortable. Say it again. You had this little plan. If I'm feeling uncomfortable, well, I know why I'm feeling uncomfortable, so I'm deciding to change to feel comfortable. After all, why would you continue to feel uncomfortable and miserable when you didn't have to? Very simple question, which I think then brought us to our third stage. The third stage, what I would consider to be the biggest change, in a sense, was beginning to occur little by little. This inner you did change many of the old habits of being uncomfortable to better habits of being comfortable. And now, this to me was the biggest step. It knew that it could change and was ready to change any negativity to a positive because it could. I just want to say it again. You finally got to the point of understanding that I can change anything that's negative to a positive because I know I can. The soul, the inner you, was coming forward. And for many people, whenever they felt a little out of sorts, they just used that as kind of a good spiritual tool. If I'm out of sorts, well, I don't have to stand for that. let me take a look at it, see where I'm out of sorts, and get back into that more natural feeling. Again, why would you want to be miserable when you don't have to? Why would you like to be uncomfortable when you could be comfortable? Why be ill at ease when you can be at ease? These are simple but very, very penetrating questions. This change, for many of us now has become the following. We're beginning to realize that our natural state is truly now our all the time, eyes opened, walking around in the world state of being. I don't know that any of us ever thought we'd get there, but I think that's true. More and more, this natural state of who we are as a soul, bringing goodness into the world, bringing heaven to earth, not being overcome by the complexities of life, but rather bringing resolution to the complexities of life. This is becoming our all the time, eyes opened, walking around the world, sense of self. It's becoming natural. But let me just suggest one other thing. A significant part of our growth is the fact that we are sharing this growth with others. It's very difficult to do this on your own, but it's so very important for us to be able to do it with others, to be with a group of wonderful souls that are awakening together. And when I look at each of you and those of you sharing us on YouTube, what I really find is that we now have a common natural self. We have a common natural self. That the God Spirit within each one of us, is common. The God Spirit in Tony is the same within Patty. The God Spirit within one is the same within another. We now have a common natural God Spirit. Did you ever think you'd come to that conclusion? And to be able to celebrate it with others. A common God Spirit, a common natural self. Whether you call it the Holy Spirit, consciousness, awareness, it is that presence that more and more is becoming our natural self. And might I suggest that that presence within us, this is our evolutionary pathway forward. This probably has been maybe our biggest change. We know what we're doing, and we know what we're doing as we go forward. It's an evolutionary pathway. So, in conclusion, what I would just want to suggest is that more and more we're coming to that natural state, that the natural state is our eternal soul. And again, you just ask that simple question, why would you be miserable when you don't have to? When you have within you an inner you. You have an inner sanctuary to which you can retreat at any time and be who you are, be the wonderful soul that you are. And especially to realize that we're learning to do this together. But with one last comment. My opinion, it's just kind of beginning. It's just kind of beginning. We've spent so many years in an unnatural condition. It's time for us to catch up, to spend more and more years in our natural condition. And that natural condition is simply bringing heaven to earth. And it could be something so easy, Pat, as you making that nice little necklace for Patty and that nice little chakra necklace. It's the simplest little thing. Or it's when Nissy does something, she always makes Rosalie her little treat all the time, no matter what. It's the simplest little things. But the simplest little things carry with them the heavenly energy. The simplest things carry with them the heavenly energy. This is becoming our natural state. So with that in mind, what I'd like to now ask you to do is to set an intention for yourself, and we're going to use this intention for our meditation today. And your intention can be anything from something you want to accomplish physically within yourself, might be an emotion you want to have, or you might want to send energy to someone else. So whatever you would like to do, just set an intention. So we're going to work on that, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a tone, and we're going to tone to see if we can amplify the energy. This has always worked out well. Patty, here we have you taking Rosalie out. We always have one of our teachers in Pittsburgh. Her name is Renee, and she takes the children out and she just gives them all the nourishment they need. And we noticed that, Patty, you have the elephant there, so that's good. You got the most essential thing. There you go. Absolutely. So the tone we're going to use today, the easiest tone is the tone Om. So during the actual meditation, I'm going to use, say 5 times, we're going to use the tone Om. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, then we're going to Om, and we're going to do that 5 times. Okay? So feel very comfortable with that. Now don't be hesitant. We don't have to practice, I don't think we have to practice, but you don't have to go Om. It's just a nice gentle Om. But if you want to do more Omish, we'll be more Omish, or whatever it might be. So we'll get all that done as we go. It'll just be fun. The goal is, let's see if it's true. Does toning amplify the energy? Pretty interesting. So let me get set up. We welcome all of you on YouTube joining us again for the meditation. And our goal is to use toning to amplify the energy. So I'm going to ask you to set an intention, and then as we do so, we'll bring that into awareness, and then we'll tone, inviting all of you to do the very same with us here. Let's just see how it works. Let's begin. I think this will be absolute fun, just joy. So let's begin by first of all setting an intention. Is there just something as you're sitting here right now that you would like to intend? It could be something you'd like to fix up, renew, or it could be something that you're looking forward to, happy to chart a new territory for yourself. Just whatever you decide, either personally or with others, I just ask that you begin by holding that intention. Let me give you a moment to do so. With that intention in mind, let me now bring you into a relaxed, concentrated state. Let's begin first of all by simply asking you to use your natural breathing rhythm and just setting a nice in and out of the breath. Nothing forced, but I ask you not to be complacent either, that you become attentive to the breath, focus on it. Please begin with your natural in and out of your breathing system. Please begin. In order to assist you in the rhythm of your breathing, let me suggest this set of guide words. When you inhale, just say to yourself the word in. When you exhale, the word out. In and out, according to your natural breathing rhythm. Stay focused. If a thought comes into your mind, just let it pass and return to in and out. Again, your natural breathing rhythm. Please continue. And just begin to notice how you feel a little calmer, a little easier, a little nicer. And just continue the breath, nice and easy. And now what I ask you to do, if you just take your hand and put it over your heart, and as you do so, when you inhale, you'll be able to feel the movement, subtle but very clear, of your lungs expanding. And when you exhale, very subtle movement again, your lungs deflating. Just feel the in, feel the out. Concentrate, easy to do. If the mind wanders, bring it back. In and out, feel it, feel it. Please continue. You may put your hand back on your lap. And I'm going to ask you to do one last thing. When you inhale, just feel your whole body breathing. When you exhale, feel your whole body breathing out. Body breathe. Feel your whole body bringing in that peace and calmness. Then feel your whole body extending it outwards. Body breathe. You can do it. It's not hard. Just focus. Please continue. Well done. Well done. I'm now going to ask you to notice two things. Would you notice, first of all, how calm you really are? There's just a calmness about yourself. There's an inner you. Here I am. Here I am. You're very alert, but there's no anxiety, there's no worry, there's just, well, here I am. The inner you, your soul awareness. And would you say to yourself, I like myself this way. I like being natural. I like myself. Again, just notice the calmness, the peace, the you. Let's now do just a little work. Would you now call to mind, to your inner you, the intention you had at the beginning? Reset the intention within yourself, either personal or with others, either fixing or evolving. Set the intention within yourself. Picture it, imagine it, see it. Now what I ask you to do, and we'll do this together, I want to encourage you to amplify the energy by putting a sound to it. Bring the sound to your intention. Picture, see the intention as you make the sound, the tone. I'm going to count to 3, and then we'll tone 5 times. Again, just bring the tone into your intention. Hold your intention. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Maintain the intention. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The all-inclusive sound of Om is a carrier wave to your intention. I'll say it again. The universal sound of Om becomes a carrier wave to your intention. One, two, three. Would you simply recognize the connection that the Om sound has enhanced with your intention? Just take a moment to enjoy the connection. And just when you're ready now, bring that energy back here into this room. No movement away, though, from that peace. Just bring the energy into the room. And now bring that energy back into your body, into your physicality. Again, no movement away from the quality of the energy. Just bring it into your body. Feel good with it. Just let it permeate every part of you, every part of you. And just when you're ready now, gently breathe your eyes open and allow that wonderful energy, your soul self, to shine through.